Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Lenovo ThinkPad P1 Gen 5, right? So this is a carbon fiber magnesium case. Alright, and basically this thing the customer told me is overheating, so we need to figure out why it's doing that. Alright, anyways, we're going to be using a P1 or PH1 or JS1 screwdriver to remove the screws from the bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and undo these screws. If the screws come out, you do want to keep them in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths, and mixing them up can cause damage to the computer. All right, there's a little pin-sized hole here. That's kind of like a battery reset. If your computer's having issues powering on or anything, you can try using a little pin or folded out paper clip to press and hold that little button for about 15 seconds. All right, anyways, now that we got the screws out, let's see if we can pop this off. We'll go from the back, and I'm going to use my fingernails in the gap. Let's see if we can pop the clips. Okay, there we go. Over here. All right, so that came up relatively easily. Go down the side. Oops, I forgot the screw in the middle, I think. There we go. So now that we got all the screws, hopefully we can just lift it off. Yes, we can. And we'll set this aside. It looks like the screws stay attached, so yeah. All right. Also, the way this thing's held in place, you can see the bottom have these little feet that stick out. So those actually hook in, and then that's what allows it to hold the bottom portion in place. Okay, so I'll take that out. Here we go. There's the battery, looks okay. And actually internally, it's very clean. So most likely they already cleaned it up really well, and we're gonna have to reapply thermal paste. I have a feeling they already tried that, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, so here's what that looks like. We're gonna go ahead and take the battery out. So the battery, the speakers are kind of on top of it. So let's go ahead and disconnect the speakers. I'm gonna zoom in here. Let's disconnect the battery first. So the battery connector is right here. The way you disconnect this battery, I use my fingernails. Obviously, you can use plastic pry tools, but you go from the front here, and then you pop this up slightly. Okay, once you pop that up slightly, you don't want to pull too hard. You can see how this moves around, like side to side. Okay, so you slide it up and then out. There you go. And now the battery's disconnected. We're going to zoom back out a bit. Oops, I forgot to show the battery or the speaker connector here. So we need to disconnect this. I just use my fingernails and then just kind of wiggle, okay, like this. And you just keep wiggling at the wings of this connector, and it should eventually, there you go, walk its way out. We'll zoom out now. And we're gonna have to take the two speakers out. So the speakers are just held in with these little rubber feet. Hopefully there's nothing I'm missing underneath. Okay, so that comes out, and we're just gonna move that out of the way. Okay, this, you want to get it out from this little guide here. Okay, and then we can go ahead and set the speakers aside. You could technically just leave the speakers in there, but I'm going to take them out and set them aside. Okay. All right, if for some reason the rubber piece comes out, so if for some reason these little rubber things come out, the way you get them back in, you see that little groove in the side? It has that little groove on each one. So let's say you were to pop this out, okay? So the way you get it back in, you see how it has that little ring in the middle? So you just line that up, pinch it this way, and then push the whole thing in. And that's it. Very easy to put that back. Okay, we'll set that aside. All right, we'll undo the screws now, holding the battery in place. Again, keep the screws in order. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So I believe we have 4 going along down here. Okay, so we'll get those 4 screws out. I don't know if there's any screws up here. I don't see any, but we'll take these 4 out. Okay, now that we got those 4 screws out, we can lift it and then slide it. Yep, okay. And you can see this has like little hooks on the front here. So it basically hooks in, and you can actually see it hooks in under these little gray areas there. I don't know if you can see that. Yep, there's one there, there, and then another one here, and another one over here. Okay, anyways, the battery model number is right here, L20M4P75. Okay, here's the back. It has these little foam things on it, but anyways, we'll set that aside. Okay, and underneath you have the keyboard connector here. This is for the keyboard, pretty sure. I'm not quite sure what this little connector's for. Does it have that little nub in the middle? Otherwise, it's probably for the backlight. Oh, it does have the nub. So this is most likely for the nub in the middle, and then you got this that connects this whole board to the logic board or motherboard. All right, you got this connector here for the touchpad, trackpad, and I don't see a separate connector for keyboard backlight, so I'm not too sure. It does have backlight, so I'm not too sure how it's powering the backlight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any specific connector for the backlight itself. Anyways, this is a CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here. It is a CR 2016. Connectors here. If you're replacing this, keep in mind the black wire is going towards the RAM over here, and the red wire is going towards the outside of the computer. 2 slots for RAM. Okay, so we'll pull these 2 tabs to the side. It pops up. And this is a PC5 4800B. So PC5, any PC5 4800B RAM should work okay with this. And yeah, again, this is DDR5 or PC5. Okay, this is a 8 gig stick. If you want, you can upgrade to 2 16 gig sticks. I think there might even be 32 gig sticks. So yeah, these are 2 8 gig sticks. All right, there's an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here, 1 screw. Once you take that out, this will pop up. Actually, let me do one extra thing. Now that we disconnected the battery, I'm going to press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. This makes it a lot safer to work on, okay? So just take those few seconds, hold the button down, and let it drain. Okay, a few more. All right, we should be good. This makes it a lot safer to work on, especially since we're going to be pulling the whole heatsink out. I just want to be a little bit extra safe, okay? There's 1 screw here holding the M.2 SSD in place. Once you undo that screw, this should come up. There's a thermal pad underneath, so be very careful. Very slowly pull it up. Don't try and pull it up too quick because you don't want to break the thing, okay? And the thermal pad should slowly let go. All right, just very slowly, gradually. There we go. And then we can go ahead and pull this back. And come on, the thermal pad's grabbing it. There we go. So there's the CPU, or sorry, not the CPU, the M.2 SSD, and it just comes out like that. So there's an SK Hynix SSD. All right, I'm going to put this back in because we don't really need to remove this to do the heat thing. Okay. And then just lower that down. Make sure when you lower this down, there is a little raised lip here. Make sure the SSD is going in front of that it's not on top of the raised portion, because otherwise, if you screw this down, it's going to pinch that ring, the raised lip, between the screw, and you can actually cut through the SSD if you tighten it too hard. Okay. I'm not sure what this sealed screw hole is. There's 1 fan screw here, or 1 fan cable here, so we're going to have to disconnect that. Let me zoom in here. Okay, it helps to use like needle nose pliers to kind of get this kind of connector out. You kind of pinch at the side of the connector. Oh, I don't know if it's going to focus down there, but basically you pinch the side of the connector and then you kind of just wiggle, like basically twisting it, rotating it to get that out. Okay, well, that's actually very difficult. So if you can't do it that way, you can kind of grab as close as you can to the connector and then kind of just same thing, wiggle it, and eventually we should be able to walk that connector out just like that. Sorry, I know my hand was in the way. This is the LCD LVDS connector if you need to get that out. Usually I'll just go from one corner, use my fingernail so I can feel how much force is being applied, and then we're going to just pull it up like that. Let's see. Wow, actually this one's being difficult. Underneath. And pop that up. Oh, there's a different latch here. Huh. Okay, so I guess that would help. You see this latch here? Flip that on both sides. Interesting. Wow, actually, it's very difficult to get that out. Let's try it with the little plastic tool because there's not really any room next to the fan here. So I gotta get this. Latch, unlatch. There we go. And then, does that make it easy to pop out? Not really. I think it just gives you a thing to grab here. So, no. And then just pop this out. All right, anyways, there's that. That's a weird connector. I haven't seen, well, I have seen one before, but pretty rare. All right, so there we go. Then we can go ahead and wiggle this out from under the fan to get that out of the way. Pretty sure this is the LCD LVDS connector. Underneath here looks like the DC jack charge port connector. I'm not going to mess with that. It looks like we do have to take this bracket off to get it out. So 2 screws here on top, then you can take that out. It's just this regular kind of charger, the rectangular one that Lenovo likes to use. Okay, and then the connector here is basically like the speaker connector. You kind of just wiggle it like this, and then you should be able to pull it out, but we'll leave that alone. Wireless card is attached to this little board here. So if for some reason you need to replace this, actually this is all one part of the motherboard, logic board. So if the wireless doesn't work, is broken, you're pretty much screwed. You'd have to replace the entire board. Then there's another connector here that goes into the screen. I'm assuming this one is for the LCD, sorry, the webcam and stuff. All right, and then you got the wireless antennas. Oh, we are gonna have to disconnect this. Then you have this little connector here. This is for the fingerprint sensor in the power button. Okay, that's what that connector is going into there. Then here's the little button I was talking about that you can press through the bottom case. This is a case intrusion switch. I believe it tells the computer that the cover's been removed. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and disconnect the wireless antennas. The way they mark this is the gray wire is to the solid arrow here. I don't know if you can see it there. And then the black wire is to just the outline arrow. Okay, we're gonna undo the antenna, so just go from the tail and then just pull straight up here and here. And then let's undo these wires from the little routing area here. Okay, and then we got the connector here. Flip that latch up. This you kind of have to pull up slightly and then back, okay, because the little wings on the connector. And we'll get this out just like that. Move that aside. Okay, you got the fan connector here, so you do want to get underneath this plastic stuff so we can disconnect that, and it connects all the way down. Oops, all the way down there. All right, so we'll peel that up. Grab a hold of that wire, and you don't want to pull from all the way back here. You want to pull as close to the connector as possible. Again, if you can do it with the needle nose pliers, that'll work, but for some reason I can't do it. It slips too much. So I'm going to grab the wire as close as I can to the connector and then just slowly side to side. Okay, actually the needle nose pliers do help loosen it a bit. So I'm going to grab here and then kind of just wiggle. You don't want to pull or pinch too hard, just to wiggle it to get it started. Then I can grab this and you can see how the wire like lets it wiggle, and there we go. Okay, there's that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the heatsink. So they are numbered, and I'm pretty sure they're hiding another screw under here. Yep. Okay, so we got one. What screw is this? They use some weird screws for this, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And what is this? 5th one? There's no number on this one. There's no number on this one. Yeah, I don't know. There's no number for this middle one, and I don't see another one on this side. So looks like there's a 5th screw here, but they didn't label it. So let's see. Okay, and we might have to undo some screws over here. No? I'm not sure if these screws need to come out. Anyways, it looks to be T8, Torx 8 screws. I won't know 100% for sure until I try, but let's see. This is a T8, Torx 8. Yep. All right, so we're going to undo the first screw here. You hear it click, undo the second screw. Hear it click, undo the third screw. Hear it click, undo the fourth screw. There we go, and then we got the last screw here. Okay, now that we got all those screws undone, oh, it looks like we might have to undo all of these as well. So this heatsink actually goes really far. We're going to switch back to the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. There's 2 screws over here that we need to undo and probably set aside. Let's see. Oh, those screws actually stay attached as well. Okay, so actually this screw, as you can see, came out. So again, don't lose it, don't mix it up. I'm surprised this screw actually stays attached. What is it holding on with? Oh, it has a little plastic washer underneath. Okay, so this screw stays attached. All right, anyways, usually to get these out, it's pretty hard. So what I do is I twist. Okay, so I hold the case down. I'm using my my wrist to hold down the bottom of the case. I don't know if I can show the whole thing here. Okay, and then what I do is I need to like rotate this. So you kind of twist it a little bit. I don't know if you can see. And as you're twisting, slowly pull up just very lightly. This says do not disassemble this thermal module. Thermal module is part of the system board FRU. Huh. It tells you not to take the heatsink off because it's part of the motherboard. Anyways, we're going to wiggle this and hopefully it'll eventually lift off. I'm going to switch back over to the T8 Torx 8 just to double check these screws. They all are loose. Okay, just to make sure. All right, and then we'll continue wiggling and pulling up slightly. Lightly lifting up. And you can see it's slowly lifting from the back end here. And there we go. And we got to be careful because they use liquid metal in here. So as you can see, there's the liquid metal here. They also put a shim. That's weird. What the heck did they put on there? You see this? They put some kind of shim here. Maybe that's why it's overheating. I don't know what kind of... Okay, well, this does not look like a good paste job. I don't know what kind of paste they use here, but all right, anyways, we're gonna get some clean tools here and we're gonna try and spread this liquid metal around to get a better contact. You can see it's all just like in one spot, and that's not good. We want it all spread out. And then this stuff, I don't know what that is. So I'm going to have to use multiple of these separate tools just to smear it around. Make sure everything's good. Okay. All right. And if it still has problems, then I don't know what we're going to do here. Because I don't have replacement liquid metal. So anyways, we're going to smear this around. Get a nice even coating. You can see how it's kind of turning all shiny. So that's what we need for the liquid metal. You need to smear it around to get the entire thing all coated. Okay, I don't know why they put so much on this portion. I'm wondering if all of it was liquid metal before, like including the GPU. There you go. All right, I'm gonna try and scrape some from the heatsink itself. You see how it's not like evenly coated here? So I'm gonna try and evenly spread this out. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you can see. There you go. So we gotta try and evenly coat this. I don't know why this small portion has so much liquid metal compared to the rest, so I'm gonna push that over to this portion and try and smear it more smooth. I'm wondering if they just didn't put enough here, but I don't have replacement liquid metal to put back on it. But there you go. That's what that looks like. Okay, this one is all smoothed out now. Okay, I don't know what kind of paste they put on the GPU itself, because this is like solid stuff. I don't know. I'm wondering if I should clean it off and put a different kind of paste, but it's also weird here that this thing is like bending up. Can you see that? It's like bent. That's really weird. I don't know what kind of paste that is. I don't know. It looks like some metallic paste. I'm gonna try just adding paste to it. Normally I clean the paste off and then put new paste, but I have a feeling it's just not making good contact. And usually the material itself, it's gonna maintain its thermal properties, so it's more if there's air bubbles there. So I'm gonna put a little paste in the middle here. Let's see, hopefully I have some in this tube. Okay, so we'll put some paste in the middle there. We'll put a little on the corners here. And then I'll have to run some tests on to check the temps. Okay, so there we go. We got it all pasted. Let's try and like even this out into a ball here in the middle. Come on, get off. Move. Okay, try and get that centered. And there we go. And now hopefully once we get this all reassembled, it should be okay. I'm gonna try and poke this all back into the center to make a nice ball. Make the little corner ones into balls so it just pushes into the corners. Like that. Okay, that should be plenty paste. That's actually quite a bit for the size of the die here. And the liquid metal does seem to be spread pretty evenly. There's a little gap here that doesn't need any of it, so I'm going to try and scrape that away. Let's try and even it out a little bit more. Okay, so there we go. The only other way to make this any better is I'd need to get more liquid metal. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and get this back on. So I'm going to zoom back out. I think their fans are okay. The fans seem to spin fine. So we're going to go ahead and drop this back down, line it up. Okay. Move this out of the way. Actually, this needs to go under. Oops, sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. So this cable needs to go under there. I'll move the antennas and stuff out. Okay, line everything up. And now we're gonna go first screw, twist it till you hear it click. 1, 2, 3, second one. Is it not lining up right? There we go. Hear it click. 1, 2, 3, third one. 1, 2, 3, fourth one. 1, 2, 3, and then the last one. All right, then we'll go back to 1, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's tightened all the way. Second one, tighten that all the way. Third one, tighten that all the way. And the fourth one, tighten that all the way. Now the last one, tighten that. And we're good. All right, then we'll kind of stick that down. Okay. We'll switch back over to the PH1 JS1 screwdriver. And we'll twist this backwards and then twist that all the way down. All right, and the last screw here. Get that in. All right, so I had another customer that had liquid metal on theirs, and just spreading it even like that fixed it. So let's hope that this does the same. All right, because I don't have liquid metal. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this lined up, and then make sure to push that in. It helps to kind of pinch the two pieces together. Okay, looks good. Stick that back down. Let's get this cable in first, because, oops, let me see, I need to zoom out for you guys because I have no room on my desk. So get this all over, under, okay. Flip that latch up, get this cable in, make sure that the wings go over the little white raised portion, then flip that latch back down. Okay, antennas, under, over, under, okay. And again, the black one goes to this outlined one. Line it up. Make sure it's all in line before you push it down. You can tell because if you try and move it around when it's on top, it won't go anywhere. Okay, oops. All right, click that down. Then we get the grayish one or white one. Make sure that's lined up and then click that down. Perfect. All right, antenna's reattached. Now we'll reattach this cable. Be very careful with the liquid metal stuff because it will eat aluminum and other metals. So you want to make sure that you don't accidentally get that onto some aluminum stuff. It'll turn all brittle. Okay, because there is gallium in there. All right, let's zoom in here. So we got the other fan connector here. Line it up. Okay, make sure it goes in straight and then pinch it. Looks good. Then we got this video cable. Make sure that little latch is up. I don't know if that's important, but we'll push that down. Okay, make sure it's in place and then you can flip that back over. I'm not sure if this flipping thing even does anything, but there we go. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it's hard to lift it up, so that's good. Okay, next let's zoom out. We got to get the battery back in. So battery here. Tuck the top end in first. Okay, front feet. Sorry if my head gets in the way. I'm trying to look what I'm doing. Okay, line up the little screw mounts here. Get the 4 screws back in. This one. Okay, this one. And the last one. We're going to see if we can power it up first before we go ahead and put the bottom cover back on. We got the speakers here. Okay, so you just line this back up with those raised posts. Push that down, and you can get these screws. I don't know why, but they didn't use these little portions for the wires. Okay, then we'll get the other side in. Line that up. All right, get the connector, line it up, and pinch it back in. Okay, looks like this side, over, under, okay. Then this goes under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, oops. Come here. I'm gonna have to use some tweezers or something. Okay, over, under, I guess. See, it was just wrapped like this, but let's see if we can put it in the actual cable routing. Then that goes around here, under, and over. It does work. I don't know why it wasn't in there before. At least I don't think it was. Okay, let's go ahead and get the battery connector back in. So basically the reverse of how we took it out. Line up the little wings here, get that in, slot it, push it backwards, and then once you get it in, you can go ahead and click that down. All right, make sure it clicks down on both sides. We'll lift this open and power it on. And it's turning on. Oops, let's zoom out here. What is that? All right, anyways, you can see it's working now. So that should be good. We just need to make sure it's not going to overheat. As you can see, the fans aren't going crazy or anything, so it's not getting hot yet. It's still starting up. Should start spinning soon. Man, why does this take so long to boot? There you go, it's doing its thing. None of the fans are spinning. So I'm gonna check with the customer because I'm probably gonna need their password to sign in and do some stress testing. But that's pretty much it. If for some reason your liquid metal's still not cooling the computer down and you need to add more, you might have to order some liquid metal. Or you can clean it all off with some paper towel and isopropyl alcohol, and then you can put some other kind of a thermal paste. But keep in mind the liquid metal should, in theory, cool it down better than most thermal paste. I think there's some PTM, something that some people are telling me about to try using after watching some Linus Tech Tips videos. I guess you can try using that if you want. But other than that, that's pretty much it. And yeah, the fans still aren't going on, so I don't know. I guess it's not, yeah, it's not really that hot. It's like just barely warm. So it's probably gonna have to wait till it's super hot. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna ask the customer for their password, run some stress tests, and then I think we should be good to go. So we're gonna put this back on, just get the little feet in first. Okay. Once it's all lined up, then you can lower it down and then get all the screws back in. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Other than that, I do have another channel called It's Been Reviewed and More. If you like my review videos, or if you just want to help me out, you can subscribe to that channel as well. It's the same profile picture, but the logo or the profile picture basically zoomed in. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, let's drop this. Bye.